Now lads, we were doing equation of a line the last day with that y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, and the examples we were given, we needed the slope and 1 point. So we need the slope and 1 point, and the examples we were given the slope and we were given 1 point. And in the questions I gave you, we were given the slope and we were given a point, we were given the slope and we were given a point, we were given the slope and we were given a point. Okay, so all those were given the slope and 1 point. In the examples we're going to do today, we're still doing equation of a line, so I know Dan, you were asking about the equation of a line, the end of it, just the tidying up part. We're going to do ones where we're not given the slope and one of the points, where we're given some other information. And there's two examples I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through one I've just made up and the one in the book. So you can see this one, it says find the equation of a line. So in your head you should be saying, I need the slope and 1 point. Okay, I need the slope and 1 point. However, in this, we have 2 points. So we definitely have 1 point, so we have that, but we need the slope. And then it should also automatically go back and say, right, if we need the slope, we can actually find the slope if we have 2 points. So what we're going to do in these examples, in these questions, is we're going to find the slope before we find the equation of a line, because we need the slope. So do you remember we labelled these x1, y1, x2, y2. We go to our maths tables, page 18, and our maths tables, again you have these notes taken down as well. Page 18, we have a formula for slope, and there's the equation of a line formula, so you don't have to remember them. So the formula for slope is y is equal to, m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And this way we'll be able to find the slope. So y2 is 4 minus 1 all over x2 is 7 minus 6. So we end up with 3 over 1, which is just 3. So the slope is 3. So now we have our slope and we have our point. Our point, you can pick either of these points. It doesn't make a difference because these are both points in the line. So we're going to use 6, 1. Okay, I could have used the other one if you want. And we're going to label that x1, y1. We now write out the equation of a line. And again, that's on page 18. There we go. Page 18. And we go y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And we fill in our m and we fill in our x1 and y1. So y minus 1 equals our m, which is 3, times x and minus our x1, which is 6. And again, if you get to that point, you've got most of the marks. Okay, so this is where I said you get this. Now all we do is, this isn't a fraction, so we just multiply at the bracket. We're going to leave this y minus 1 equals 3x, and 3 by minus 6 is minus 18. Okay, now this was the question I was getting asked. From here, generally, now not all the time, but generally we'll be asked to bring everything to one side. Okay, bring everything to one side. So I always bring it to the side to make x positive. So x is positive on the right hand side. So 3x stays there. The y comes across the equals to sign and becomes a minus y. The minus 18 stays on this side, so nothing happens. And the minus 1 comes across and becomes a plus 1. And we're left on this side with 0. But usually we don't write it like that, so I'm going to just put it on the other side. It doesn't make a difference. And very last step, we just collect like terms. Minus y minus 18 plus 1 is minus 17 equals 0. Okay, and that's our first example. So I'll do another example in a sec. Okay, our second example. Find the equation of a line containing these 2 points. Again, we don't have the slope. We do have points, but we don't have the slope, so we have to get the slope. So we're going to go x1, y1, x2, y2, and this is the example in the book. We write down our slope formula. So slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and we fill it in. So y2 is 1 minus y1 is 3 over x2 is 3. Now be careful, minus 2. Minus 2. So that becomes 1 minus 3 is 2. and sorry, it's minus 2, nearly made a mistake, and 3, this becomes a plus, 3 plus 2 is 5, so we end up at minus 2/5. That's our slope. And now we have our slope, minus 2/5, and we have to pick one of the points. Now in the book they pick this point, and you could pick this point, but I'll just show you it'll work out if we pick the other point. I'm going to pick the other point, 3, 1. You can pick either of the points, and we just label that x1, y1. We added x2, y2 in the previous part, it doesn't make a difference. And now we're going to write out our equation of the line. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Fill in our m and fill in our y1 and x1. So y minus 1 equals m, which is minus 2/5, times x, and x1 is minus 3. Now, like we did the last day, I don't like having a fraction here. So whatever I do, the first thing I do is I want to get rid of this 5 on the bottom, and I bring it up here and I multiply it up here, because when it crosses the equals sign, it comes a multiply. And why we're doing that is the same as multiplying both sides by 5. So the 5 comes up here, and we have y minus 1 multiplied by both of them, equals, I'll leave the minus 2 here, times x minus 3. You always leave the minus here. Now, we multiply out the brackets. 5y minus 5 equals, be careful here, minus 2 by x minus 2x, and minus 2 by minus 3 plus 6. A load of people will forget that plus. And now, going back to this, we want to move everything to one side, and I think this is the first example where the x is actually negative, so I'm actually going to bring the x to this side to make it positive. So we're going to move everything from the right hand side to the left hand side, and when it comes across it changes sign. So the minus 2x becomes a plus 2x. The 5y stays on this side, so it's still plus 5y. The minus 5 stays on this side, so it's still minus 5. And the plus 6 comes across and becomes minus 6, and that is equal to 0. And we just collect like terms, it's always just the last two. So we ended up with 2x plus 5y minus 11 equals 0. And that is the equation of the line. And if you look at the book, the answer they get is exactly the same as that, except they used that point in their line. So it doesn't make a difference which point you use as long as you do all the steps correctly. So the questions we have today, they're most likely not going to have the slope, so you'll have to find the slope first. And even if you make a mistake in the slope, if you do the rest of the stuff right, you'll still get all the marks. So if you make a mistake with the slope, don't worry about it. You still would have picked up marks like this. And if there's any questions, you can't get the answers from the back of the book, please ask me and I'll do out the solutions.